Right, so for this video, it is going to be about the weekly forecast for next week. And for next week, we have the new monthly opening. It's the monthly candle of September. Right, so starting off with the month of September, we have bank holiday on Monday, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, we have 10 a.m. news drivers. Thursday we have 8:15, 8:30 and 10 a.m. and then on Friday we have 8:30, which is non-farm payrolls. Okay, so judging off from the first week, I think we are probably going to have the best week out of all the weeks in September, because for the next week, for the following week, we will have CPI on Wednesday, and then we have 8:30 on Thursday. Okay, let me switch it to the charts. Right, anyways, that for the second week is probably going to be a Thursday reversal market profile, and then the following week on the 17th of September we are going to have the contract rollover, or the switch of contracts from September to December right here. This week here, hold on a second, it's Tuesday, right? 3rd of September. Oh yeah, because I'm on the monthly chart, but okay, just to be clear, it's on 17th September. Okay, so that week in particular is most probably going to be difficult to trade, because there will be 2 contracts online, which means you have to go and double check and see where the majority of the open interest is at which contract, right? So it's either going to be on the September one, or is it going to be on the December one? That one you have to check it yourself. So I think it is best to avoid the 3rd week of September, in my personal opinion. But if I really want to trade on the 3rd week, it's probably going to be on Thursday, because on Wednesday we have FOMC statements, interest rates, right? So that is important. The next week, which is the final week of September, we have 9:45 Monday, Tuesday 10, and on Wednesday it's empty, Thursday 8:30 and Friday 8:30. It's similar to this week, the last week of August. So we should expect similar price action, similar type of market profiles for the last week of September with this week. Let me rephrase that. We should expect same type of price action in the last week of September, similar to the last week of August. Okay, so with that aside, let's move on and focus on what's going to happen next week. All right, I'm going to remove this. So right off the monthly candle, we are probably going to open up above or slightly above. Let me rephrase that. We're probably going to open up in the high end of the previous month's candle. This is the previous month's candle. This is August monthly candle. Okay, so what's that word? I couldn't recall it suddenly. Okay, without any form of major manipulation, we should be opening up near the high of the previous month's candle, and in that case we are obviously going to look for this month's high, which is the month of July. All-time highs for ES. For NQ, now here's the problem here. For NQ, I will be using the wick here as the draw on liquidity. I won't be using the all-time highs, because NQ is showing signs of weakness as compared to ES. On the weekly time frame, you can see it very clearly. For this weekly fair value gap, right, let me just mark out the quadrants. NQ traded all the way to the 50% level. ES traded only to offer IOFED. Okay, so for ES, it is way more bullish than NQ. Therefore, taking out this all-time highs next week or the next month should not be a problem, but I think it's going to happen next week because we have non-farm payrolls. Okay, and I think non-farm payrolls, or before non-farm payroll, I mean basically next week we are probably going to take out this high. The furthest that I can extend to would be 11th of September, because 11th of September is CPI. Regardless of when it's going to do it, it is going to do it before or on CPI, okay, for this all-time highs. But I am assuming it's going to be next week. Okay, for NQ, I am not too optimistic because the high is right here. It has a lot of work to do to reach into this high. We have to clear this entire order block, and we have this bearish fair value gap as well. So for NQ, I'm going to be more conservative, and I'm going to have my targets down here. This is the weekly fair value gap, and for ES it's the all-time highs. So this would be the objective for next week, and then following that we are probably going to see some form of reversals or retracements if we want to print an SMT on highs. So this is something that you can try to anticipate, but don't put too much conviction into that. All right, because you want to wait for it to form, and then you want to wait for it to confirm. You don't want to be ahead of the setup. You want to wait for the setup to form and then execute on the setup. Okay, so you don't want to be entering before the setup forms. I mean, I'm not at that level yet, so I'm not going to try to do that. I'm just going to wait for price to tell me what it's going to do. Okay, so in this case, even though I am anticipating SMT on the highs, I'm not going to just put a short limit here and then my stops up here for NQ. Okay, I am not ICT, right? So anyways, because I am anticipating SMT, that could mean that for the next quarter we are probably going to reverse lower and take out this relative equal lows. This is just my opinion on the higher time frames, and it's something that I'm going to look forward to for observations. Okay, but anyways, I have already given you the draw on liquidity for next week, and I think that's probably enough. You don't need anything more for next week, so you can switch this off if you're just here for the weekly forecast. Okay, but I'm gonna go on to talk about how this might work in terms of like what do you call it, anticipating large range reversals. Okay, so on the daily time frame, you can see that ES is trading sideways while NQ is trading lower, right? So this is one indication that price is more bearish on NQ. Okay, but obviously you can see that we have relative equal highs, and then we have a higher time frame weekly fair value gap. So the most I am looking for is NQ to trade into the consequent encroachment of that weekly fair value gap, and then I am anticipating some sort of reversals. Okay, am I going to be right or am I going to be wrong? That is not the point here, because I'm ultimately waiting for the candles to print, right? Even though I am anticipating it, even though I am anticipating the top, I'm not trying to call the tops. Okay, so looking at the daily time frame, we have traded all the way into the midpoint of this breaker here, and then price is right now showing some signs of reversal in terms of this range high and this range low. Confirmation would be if we can get a closing price above this down close candle on Tuesday, and then on Wednesday I think it would be a low-hanging fruit objective to take out this highs up here. I don't think that we are going to just run through all this liquidity on Tuesday. Can it do that? Yes, but I don't think it's going to do that because Monday is a bank holiday, so Monday and Tuesday it's going to be the same daily candle, and usually it's going to be accumulation, right? So just keep that in mind. For ES, running up to this level here on Tuesday might be possible, okay, because it's so near to this target here. And let me just think about this. Yeah, I think it's totally possible for Tuesday to take out this highs for ES, but I'm not too sure if NQ wants to do that. But anyways, let's just put that aside for now. Right, as you can see on the daily time frames, we are respecting this inversion fair value gap, and it is a good sign, and it has also closed above this down close candle. So let's just say if I want to take longs on ES into the objective next week, I will be using this down close candle as my entry points. So what do I mean by that? I am going to use the model that I've been using, and I'm going to look for something within 0 and 0.25 level in the case of lower time frame PD arrays. Like for example, if let's drop down to 6 hours, what do we have? Okay, so we have this order block here. This order block here would be enough to send the price higher. So in an event we trade down on Monday or Tuesday, we can anticipate like something like this, opens, trade sideways for a little bit, drops into this order block, and then higher. I don't want to see this swing low taken out. That's number one. And when we expand higher above these highs, I want to see speed into this level here on the higher time frames. Okay, so this is the 6 hours time frame. It might take 1 or 2 days to do it because it's on the 6 hours, but I am anticipating speed, which means I don't want to see strong retracements. I want to see a lot of gaps on the way up. Okay, so that is my anticipation for ES. And for next week, if you are going to take longs, it's better to be taking it on ES because it has shown more willingness to go higher as compared to NQ. All right, so here's the thing here. Right, so looking at, I just want to check on the 3 indices chart here. Let me see, 3 indices. I want to see if there is any SMTs. Right, so Dow Jones, we have already taken out previous month's high on the weekly. Let me just double check, put the line across. Yeah, we have already taken out previous month's high. What else is there? Okay, so on the high time frames, you can see that we have created this trend line. Okay, this trend line here. This to me is liquidity. Right, this to me is liquidity. If you look at the 3-month chart, I've been eyeing on that 3-month for Dow Jones. Okay, if you take a look at the 3-month chart for Dow Jones, it came down and barely misses this fair value gap. Right, I think this is just like a, what do you call it, I think this is like a trap, you know. This candle will close on October, so we have one whole month to fulfill this move downwards. If it closes above this down close candle, then I think this would be left open, maybe for the election or something like that. But in any case, I'm not comfortable seeing price just miss this fair value gap here. So I think at some point in time it is going to trade back into this fair value gap, which means NQ and ES is probably going to trade lower as well. Okay, right now you can see that over here we have the monthly fair value gap for ES as well. We traded all the way into the wick, this wick here, around the 50%, and then we rejected higher. For NQ, similarly, we have this fair value gap. All right, this right here, it's what they call the immediate rebalance, right? And we have just missed the monthly low right here, right? I don't like to see this. I mean, because if you're going to trade there, might as well you just take it out, right? But if you are going to leave it like this, I'm really I would be really cautious for trading higher for long-term bullish, right? I have to have a lot of confluences for me to believe that price is just going to continue higher. So I will play on the side of caution when I'm trying to long for the long term, like swing trades or long-term position trades, stuff like that. Okay, so we have one whole month left to complete this candle, and this candle will determine the next candle's direction, so to speak. Okay, so for the next candle or this candle to go lower, we need it to close below this down close candle. We don't want to see it close above. And for NQ and ES, it's simple. Basically, just close back within this candle's range, and we would pretty much trade into this guaranteed. Okay, so this candle's range for ES would be this high here, and NQ would be this high here. All right, so as long as we can close back within this candle's range, I would start to look for reversal shorts into these levels down here. And for ES would be this fair value gap. For Dow Jones, obviously this one. All right, I'm not trading the Dow, I'm just using it to analyze the two other indices, right? But that's not my preferred analysis or my preferred way of relying on things. I would much prefer to see S&P and Nasdaq both moving in the same direction and having the Kraken correlation on the highs. So which is why I am anticipating the SMT on one of them, which means ES and NQ. One of them is going to make high, and one of them is going to make a lower high, and then from then on I will wait for the daily time frame to shift bearish, show me a change in the state of delivery, and then I will go ahead and start looking for shorts, right? So that's pretty much it for this session here. I hope you find this helpful, and if so, do leave a like, and if you have any questions, do leave them in the comments section down below. Okay, let me just shortly go over what I mentioned for last week. So same thing here, what I mentioned in the previous weekly forecast video. I mentioned that we are probably going to trade into this level here, and then we're going to retrace into the weekly fair value gap. So my objective, my focus was trading into the weekly fair value gap, right? So for ES, and NQ, both is the same. It's just that for NQ, it did not even reach into this level here, which means on the higher time frames, NQ it's way more bearish than ES for this week. All right, and it played out very nicely. So in that case, when you have news drivers on Thursday and you have Wednesday as the empty day, you are going to expect Thursday reversal profiles. All right, so for example, let me just go on to the 1 hour chart. All right, so this price action here encompasses the weekly range. The weekly open is right down here, somewhere around here, right? You can look at your charts for your own reference. But anyways, you can see that on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday we have a one directional move. We don't really have reversals on Tuesday or on Wednesday, right? It's from the high and then we slowly drift and trade it lower. So in this type of profiles, and then you have like an empty day on Wednesday, and then on Thursday you have a high impact news driver. This usually leads to reversals on Thursdays, which was what we have. All right, so 70 and 80% of the time, whatever you want to say, Thursdays tends to give you the retracements / reversals. How do you anticipate whether is it going to be a retracement or a reversal? All you have to do is to see whether the higher time frame objectives has been met. So in this case, if you take a look at when we attack the weekly levels, Thursday. So on Thursday, we attacked the weekly fair value gap for ES, which is the previous week's low, right? And for NQ, we have attacked the 50% of the weekly fair value gap on Thursday as well. Right? So when your objectives are met during Thursday or before Thursday, you're going to anticipate Thursday to be a reversal profile. Right? In addition to that, if you take a look at Wednesday's price action, for ES, Wednesday took out Tuesday's high and Tuesday's low. This is your classic seek and destroy profile. Okay, on Nasdaq you probably won't be able to see that because we have SMT on the highs, but it did in fact take out the candle body, which means the rejection block. Okay, the highest body of Tuesday. So we did in fact did that, and then price took out the lows. So in this case, when you have a single day taking out the previous day's high and the previous day's low, the following day, always anticipate that price is going to take out the previous day's high and the previous day's low, which is what we have. So this is Wednesday's low. This one right here, sorry, over here. This is Wednesday's low. On Thursday, we traded lower into the high time frame objective, at the same time taking out the previous day's low. And then you see this expansion higher, taking out Wednesday's high. So this is your typical seek and destroy. Okay, and same thing for Nasdaq. Then you draw the body, the highest body for Wednesday. There you have it. And then rejected lower. So this is very typical and very classic for seek and destroy profiles. And then for the following day, because it's a Friday and it's the end of the month as well, you don't anticipate it to trade outside of Thursday's range. Okay, so for what ES did here was something unexpected, right? Like in the very last hour from this point here, we traded all the way up here. It's a 30 handle move in 1 hour. So tell me, I mean, if you were to ask me, I wouldn't have anticipated this to happen on Friday itself, right? Because it's the end of the week. Okay, so it's better to have your expectations adjusted when you're trading at the end of the week, and especially when it is also at the end of the month, the last trading day of the week, and it's also the last trading day of the month. So don't try to anticipate or expect too much. At most you can look for is previous sessions liquidity, which is what I did on the live stream itself. I was looking for, if you have watched it, you will understand what I'm saying here. I was looking for London's low, and Asia's low, basically, for New York session, right? Due to the market profile of price trading higher like this is not sustainable, right? When you are trading higher, you don't want to see this. You want to see something like this, but inversed. Okay. So overall, for this entire 2 weeks, we have been in a accumulation profile. For NQ, we have been accumulation as well, but more like accumulation drifting lower, right? So yep, with this, I hope you have found some new insights and gained some valuable information, right? And if so, thanks for watching. I'll talk to you again. Good luck trading for the next month. New month, new power of 3. Do anticipate above opening prices SMT or below opening prices SMT. Those are very important. All right, and with this, I'll end the session here. I'll talk to you again.